me type. I'm trying to type at the bottom. Oh, here we go. All right. Hi, everybody. Can you guys hear me out there in YouTube land? How you guys doing today? Everything sound okay on my end? All right, cool. All right, so we haven't done one of these in, I don't know, what's it been, a month maybe? So I appreciate y'all jumping in today. I see lots and lots of questions coming up. Let me first give you a couple updates. So what have I been doing a lot of lately? Well, most of my evenings are coaching football, which has been very fun, very exciting. So our team is now 3-1. We lost our last game to the only other undefeated team, 7-6. We had the ball at our 10-yard line. We were going in for the winning score, and we got stymied, basically by penalties. But we're 3-1. We have 2 more games coming up. We're going to finish the season probably 5-1, and then the playoffs start. But it's been a lot of fun. I've been getting my vitamin D out there in the sun every night. But if you guys haven't seen clips of the kids I coach, you have to see them play. We run an amazing offense. Of course, I'm the offensive coach, so I'm going to say that. But we run pro sets, ice sets, we run empty backfields, we run jet sweeps, we run screen passes, we run wheel routes, we run post routes, we run double reverses. We have really smart kids here. I live in a town called Pickerington, and if you look up Pickerington Central, Ohio's football, you'll see that we're really, really good here. So the kids here are really good. So anyways, if you haven't seen my team play football, go to my Instagram. I've got highlights from a couple games. And go to my Facebook. My Instagram is Mountain Dog 1, and my Facebook is just John Meadows. I want you to see my kids play. I mean, like all of our kids. We're really, really, really good team. But I want you to see some of the stuff we do. Do you know Furlan Bailey? Yeah, I know him. He's an awesome dude. Good friend of mine. So anyways, I had to tell you what I've been doing a lot of lately. Playing football, or coaching football, I should say. Definitely not playing, but coaching. Absolutely love it. And Alexander. So I know we haven't done a lot of yo-yo tricks lately in the videos, but that's because Alexander's been in school. So my kids are back to school, and they're going just normal to class. They got to wear their mask and everything. But so my kids are in school. But today, my wife just went to pick them up, and they'll be back here probably in, I don't know, probably about 4 o'clock, probably about an hour from now. So we're going to get to film some more yo-yo tricks. And you guys won't believe how good Alexander is. He's been practicing a lot. Like, you won't believe what he can do now. So you haven't seen a lot of his yo-yo tricks lately, but wait till you see the ones he can do now. Anyways, Alexander's been playing center on the football team and defensive tackle. He's a really good center, by the way. There's been no fumbled exchanges, and these are 11-year-olds. No fumbled exchanges all year. And Jonathan has been playing wing back, which is my 4-back, and he's been alternating between outside linebacker and safety on defense. He's actually saved a couple touchdowns, kind of the last man, and he's made a few tackles, so he's done well too. So anyways, that's a lot of what I've been doing. I've been training hard still. I just did a really hard back workout today. I was like barely out of breath, so I'm still wondering, kind of what's going on with my heart. I feel so good. It's just hard to believe what, I hear about how bad I'm supposed to feel right now, because I feel great. I have a cardiac MRI that I'm getting done next Friday, which will look at my heart and what if there's scar tissue from the heart attack, or no scar tissue. Obviously, the hope is no scar tissue. And that means once the blood supply comes back and things are going well, the part that's not working well, which if you've seen my videos is kind of the apex of the left ventricle down at the bottom, will come back. So we'll find out. That'll give me a lot of information right there. My initial cardiologist never suggested that or anything. I'm very surprised. I've had 4 other opinions since. I do have a new cardiologist I scheduled like 5 weeks ago, and I haven't been able to get in to see him. He's here at Ohio State. But anyway, so I do have a new cardiologist. I haven't been able to get in to see him. Apparently, he's pretty busy, and he's real good. So it literally, I had to schedule 7 or 8 weeks out. But so far, so good. So not anything really new to add to my condition. I feel great. I have no issues at all. Taking my medicine, I'm eating a good diet. I always eat a good diet. I get a lot of suggestions about what I should be eating and not eating, and I appreciate the concern. I really do. But I don't think people are actually watching the videos. I have showed several times that I don't have plaque in my heart, which would be caused by a poor diet and other poor habits. I don't have plaque. So if your idea is for me to change diets, I understand your concern, but that I don't have atherosclerotic plaque buildup. I just don't have it. So, and other than that, I mean, I've been eating pretty clean. Like 90% of my meals are clean. So, anyways, so it just kind of drives me nuts when I hear people keep telling me how to eat when my heart is virtually plaque free at my age. And, anyways, so let's get to some of your questions. Let's see what's going on out there. I only see probably 100 questions here, but let me just pop through here. Herbert, I got your donation. I appreciate it, man. We're working on. So we have a new series of videos coming up, and I'm real excited about it. I've really kind of enjoyed the series we're doing, the Choose Your Own Workout videos, but the feedback has been kind of half and half. Some of you love it. Some of you, it's too complicated to figure out, I guess, which surprises me. But we have a new series coming out called My 7 Favorite Exercises for X. We've already done chest and shoulders. You're going to see that next week. And these are the exercises that I really personally love. So I'm not making them up just to make them up and show you, oh, look at this is different. These are the things that I would be doing. So you'll see that coming next week. I hope you enjoy that. Very simple videos. I can't make it any easier than this. So let me go through some of these questions here. Let's see what you guys are up to. By the way, I appreciate all the prayers. I see all the comments here about that. It's very nice to know that I have a lot of support. It's very much appreciated. It's a funny world we live in. I feel like people are at the drop of a hat, they'll kind of turn on you in some cases. And I feel like people have been very supportive of me, which I appreciate because I think that's kind of rare today in today's society. People kind of love controversy. They love arguing and they love starting fights and things like that, which isn't my style, as you guys know. So I appreciate the support. All right, so let me just pick some of these out here. Oh, you want to see what my shirt says? Okay. Yeah. Can you guys see that? Can you see that? After this, we're getting donuts. This is from a place called Momo's Donuts in Texas. Go to Momo's Instagram. I think it's Momo's Donuts. And just look at the creations that guy makes. They're awesome. Comment and say you saw this shirt in one of my videos and see if he'll send me another shirt. Please make him send me another shirt. Put the pressure on him. Tell him I'm giving him free advertising. Instagram, Momo's Donuts. Tell him Meadows needs another shirt. All right? I need another shirt because I just do. Okay. Let's see here. Can an early intermediate male gain muscle in a deficit around 15% body fat? So can you gain muscle in a deficit around 15% body fat? So since you're an early intermediate male, I would say I would lean more to the yes. If you're a middle, late intermediate, or advanced, I would say more of it's going to be hard. But beginners and intermediates, they're so early in their muscle building journey. I feel like the stimulus of weight training, especially when done right, you can still be in a slight deficit and build some muscle, I think. I would not say that if you're advanced. I would say no. But in that stage, I think your muscles are really, they can grow much easier than when you get to more advanced. And then continual growth becomes much more challenging. All right, let's see here. I'm dying to know your position on growing new muscle at 50 and older. Well, a lot of it just depends on your weightlifting age. So if you've been training your whole life and you're 50, are you going to gain a lot more muscle? Probably not. But did you just pick up training? If you've only been training for a year and you just really enjoy it, can you gain some new muscle? Absolutely. So I think a lot of that is just more of what's your true training age. The less you have trained, the more likely you are to be able to gain muscle. All that is assuming that you hormonally are in good shape. So you don't have low tests, you don't, so that's just assuming everything's working right. But if you're pretty new to training, then I would say, yeah, man, I would expect you to gain some muscle. What are your thoughts on Bulldozer training only, lifting 3 days a week? So the reason why I picked this one is because Bulldozer was one of my early handles on the bodybuilding boards, like when boards very first started. But I don't even know what Bulldozer training is. So your question is lifting 3 days a week. If I'm going to lift 3 days a week, I'm probably going to do full body workouts, or I'm going to do upper, lower, upper, and then lower, upper, lower the next week. So that way you would get 3 times frequency every 2 weeks, which is a good frequency actually. Several of my programs I built recently, you hit the muscle group 3 times in 2 weeks. I feel like once a week's not enough. I feel like twice a week sometimes can get really tough if you're training really hard. So I feel like kind of that once every 4 days, 5 days, I feel like that's kind of a nice sweet spot where most people can do really well. So like if you did chest Monday, Friday, Wednesday, then Monday, Friday, Wednesday, or something like that. All right. Good question so far. How long do your workouts typically last? I'd say about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes. Tips on improving quad separation. Get a lot leaner. When you're training your quads, make sure you're using a full range of motion and you're flexing every rep in the contracted position, and make sure you're doing some good stretching afterwards. Those are certainly things that help. I'm 64. This is from Larry. Artificial hip workout 6 days a week. Is there any age limit on quantity of sets and rep range? Is recovery the villain on volume and frequency in your 60s? That's a great question, and I think the answer is yes. I think that as we get older and older, recovery becomes tougher and tougher. I simply can't do the things I used to be able to do and recover from them. I've tried a couple times lately, and it didn't work out so well. I got really sore. So I do think recovery becomes more challenging as you get older. I wish I could say there's this study and that study to back it up. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't, I don't know. But my gut feeling is that it does become much more challenging. So you got to be very mindful of your volume and of your frequency as you get older. All right. How do you warm up before you touch a weight? I just use the exercise. Generally speaking, I just use the exercise I'm going to start with. So if I'm going to start with dumbbell presses for chest, I'll start with dumbbell presses. If I'm going to start with, a certain row for back, then I'll do that. I don't have any real specialized workout routine. If something was aching, which I'm pleased to say nothing's really aching lately or has ached for a while. Like let's say my shoulders were aching, then I might do some extra shoulder work before I did chest or something like that. But thankfully, nothing has really been aching lately. Like I've been in pretty good shape. Okay. I just turned 16 and started a YouTube channel to document my progress. Should I train for size before I shred to sub 10% body fat if I'm looking to potentially compete? 16 years old. So I remember those days well, and I was already competing, and I don't know what you look like, so I can't answer. So I'm just going to answer in generally speaking, assuming you have a good metabolism, maybe you're not huge yet. I would probably focus more on size. Now, if you are 20% body fat, then I would say you need to get leaner. So having no information about you, I'd say focus probably on size. Have you been to Fayetteville lately? No. Should I train today, although my arms are about 6 to 10 on a sore scale, or wait till tomorrow? It depends on what you're training. If you're training your legs, obviously it doesn't matter how sore your arms are. If you're training your arms, then it does matter how sore your arms are. If you're training your arms, which I assume is what you're doing, then I would not train them if they're that sore. I would rest them. You know, I get this question a lot. When is it okay to train a muscle group again? Is it twice a week? Is it every 5 days? It's when it's recovered. That's the simple answer. It's when it's recovered. And to me, when it's recovered, when it's not sore and it's feeling good, it's time to train it. So if it's recovered, then you don't want to wait either. You want to train it. So you train a body part again when it's recovered. That's my golden rule. If I go into the gym, you know, and the funny thing is, like my training split now, people say, what's your training split now? It's I train what feels the best. That's literally what I do. I went in the gym today and my back feels completely recovered, so I trained my back. So tomorrow I'll go in and what feels completely recovered is what I'll train. Now, if I have a lot of things that are recovered, then I go to what has been the longest since I've trained it. So if I go in tomorrow and my back's not sore, it feels recovered, then I still won't train it because there's another muscle group, like say chest, that's recovered, and so I can train it. So hope that makes sense. Can I build a wide back only doing row movements? Of course you can. If you put a lot of muscle in your back, it'll naturally get wider just from sheer muscle mass. I would caution you about only doing row movements. I think you're missing out on some things. I did banded chins today, and I love, banded pull-ups, I guess. Just chin up is supinated. I did banded pull-ups today. I love banded pull-ups. I love them. That's one of the things I wished I would have done earlier in my career, but back in the 90s, we really weren't even using bands in bodybuilding. We were doing regular chin-ups, which are fine, but then once you get big enough, you get to a certain size, regular chin-ups become very difficult. And then getting all the way up into a higher part, which the band allows you to do, I think hits some muscle fibers that don't normally get hit by regular chins. I'm a big believer in those banded chin-ups, or well, you know what I mean, pull-ups. I feel like they're very underrated for back building. All right, what else do we got here? Do you think fasted cardio actually matters? Not really. I just personally don't like to do cardio after I eat. I just don't I can't imagine eating breakfast and having my bowl of oatmeal and whatever else I'm having and then doing cardio. That's just me. I actually feel a little better doing cardio fasted. What I might drink is essential amino acids. I do like having some EAAs, particularly when I'm dieting. Just kind of a mental thing with me. I'm just thinking I'm protecting muscle a little bit more. But I don't think it really matters. I mean, are you going to burn more of a percentage of fat if you're fasted? Yes, but over the course of the day, it doesn't really matter. It's going to come down to how many calories did you burn, not what percent of it was fat or anything like that. It's going to be more driven on caloric totals. So I wouldn't sweat it. If you want to eat a little bit before you do your cardio, that's fine. And generally speaking, when you do your cardio and you're fed, you can do it with more intensity and you can do it longer. So are you going to burn more carbs instead of fat? Yes, but you're also going to train a little bit harder and burn a little bit more. So it kind of washes, really. Anyways. All right, let's see what else we got here. As a parent, could you please give your opinion on children and weightlifting? Yeah. So first of all, I mean, I built a training program for kids. It doesn't have a lot of weightlifting in it. It's more of plyometrics and explosive type movements. So if you look at the most recent science on that subject, the whole idea around growth plates, premature epiphyseal closure on the end of bones, it's greatly wrong and incorrect what was stated. Like when I was younger, we always was told, well, you're not going to get any taller. As soon as you start lifting weights at a young age, your growth will stop. That's not true. And In fact, they showed that kids who lifted weights younger actually had more dense bones when they got older and were more likely to not have injuries. And I think if you look up the NSCA, the National Strength and Conditioning Association, if you look up their, it's like their summary position on youth weightlifting, it goes into great detail on that. It's really good. I would advise you to check it out. So if you want to start having your kids weight train when they're 12, 13, I have no problem with that at all. I would say just keep it basic, have them learn form. You don't need to put kids on the hack squat and have them doing cluster sets, right? But teach them good form. You don't need to push them to failure on everything they do. Make it fun so they enjoy it, and just teach them good form. Okay, let's go with Andrew from the UK. I'm 3 weeks out from competing. Should I still be doing a warm-up set for legs and then an all-out 25 rep set? So when you're getting close to competitions, there's a double-edged sword there. You got to keep your intensity up, but you're not going to be growing muscle when you're that dieted down that close to a show. So you don't need to go insane, but you still need to keep your intensity up, or else you'll lose a little bit of muscle, particularly because you're in a caloric deficit. And that will lower your basal metabolic rate. So what I tell people is do the best you can, try to maintain your strength. But if you're not recovering, then, back off a little bit, maybe on the intensity. And I think that you'll look better. That's what we're doing with Fouad right now. Fouad, if you ask him how he's training, he'll say he's taking his sets to 90% is how he terms it. That means he's not really going to failure. He's just working hard and smart. And if you've seen his pictures lately, he's doing really well. This is the best he's looked in years. Okay. Granite for life. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. Oh, by the way, Granite, we have a new non-stem pump coming out. It's actually was made this week, and it's being shipped to our fulfillment center either today or Monday. It'll be available next week. It's a crazy formula. So, you've seen that in my pre-workouts. I like to use nitrates and citrulline at a clinical dose. It works amazing. But what happens in your body is your body will produce a chemical called vasopressin, which when you dilate your blood vessels, your body it produces vasopressin, which then brings your blood vessels kind of back to normal size. It's just your body's way of keeping homeostasis. But anyways, we put an ingredient in there called Vasodrive, which is, if you look up amyl peptide, amyl peptide, it's all one word. They were using this for blood pressure. So it was helping maintain dilated blood vessels to lower blood pressure. There's been 11, 12 at least clinical studies on it. So we started playing around with that. And we actually had it in arc reactor 3 years ago, but it's a really expensive ingredient, so we had to take it out. But we put it in this product. So not only are you getting the blood vessel dilation, you maintain it for longer because of this ingredient. So I'm super excited about it. I'm not aware of any other companies that have an ingredient profile that's even close for a non-stem pump. So for those of you who train in the afternoon, or those of you who just don't like stimulants, I think this will be really good for you. And as always, we got the Granite code where you can get 25% off if you're new, if you've never ordered. It's Granite Strong 25, Granite with a capital G, Strong with a capital S 25, all one word. So as always, I'd appreciate your support there if you want to look at our stuff. Hello from the Netherlands. I just actually had a call with the Netherlands, a guy from there just last week. Let's see. I just arrived at the gym and need something to kill my quads. Have a leg press, leg extension, and free weights. Okay, here you go. Get on leg extension, do 3 or 4 warm-up sets, find a weight that you can do for 10 reps, do 25 reps with it. So do 10, get off the machine, shake your legs, get back in, do another 3 or 4, keep doing that until you get to 25. Get on the leg press, work your way up to something where you can do 10, do the same thing, do a set of 25, get like 10, rack it, stand up, shake your legs, get back in there, do another 3 or 4, keep doing that until you're done 25, and then finish with like 2 sets of full range of motion squats of like 15 reps. That's it. Your quads will be destroyed. Let me know how it goes. All right. Thank you, Caleb. I appreciate the kind words. What are your thoughts on low-calorie 10-week crash diet for fat loss? Low-calorie, high protein. Well, I mean, I'm never going to sit here and say I like crash diets. Sometimes you have situations where you have a limited time frame and you have to. But I mean, I'm never going to say I like to make massive changes to people's caloric intakes unless they're massively overeating. So if you're eating decent and now you want a crash diet, I mean, you're going to lose some muscle. So, but some people are okay with losing muscle. I'm not. I find that's a crazy concept. But I mean, I see you're saying high protein. That'll help to some degree. Keep your muscle. That's good. I'd rather see you, instead of crash dieting, I'd rather see you do it more methodically. I've got videos on my channel that talk about how to do that, how to lose weight, with a certain percentage of calorie cuts, 10% calories, what have you. I would say check those out. You should coach wrestling too. I actually did wrestle for many, many years. I did very well, but I hated it. I absolutely hated it. And when I was in high school, I figured, I didn't really enjoy rolling around on the mat with a sweaty guy. I would much rather have been rolling around with a sweaty girl. But so I quit wrestling. I hope that didn't offend anybody. But I really just didn't like wrestling. I liked pro wrestling, which is not real wrestling, but I liked it. In fact, you guys who followed pro wrestling may have seen this week that Road Warrior Animal died. My bedroom growing up was nothing but pictures of the Road Warriors. If you remember Road Warrior Hawk and Road Warrior Animal, they were my idols. My entire bedroom was lined with pictures of the Road Warriors. You couldn't even see my walls. Those guys were my heroes. And they were both really big and strong. Hawk looked like a bodybuilder. Animal was more like a powerlifter, and he was benching over 500 pounds back then. Real strong guy. But anyways, I was real sad to see that they both have passed away now. Road Warrior Hawk died many years ago, and Animal just died too. Mr. Laurinaitis, his son actually played football here at Ohio State. But anyways, is hyper responder a real thing? Absolutely. Absolutely. Some people are hyper responders to drugs. Some people are hyper responders to just weightlifting. It is definitely a real thing. It's just called genetics. That's why you can have two people do the same thing and look totally different. Just from their response. Thoughts on what kind of package Fouad can bring now that he's confirmed he will compete in 3 weeks? I think he's going to do really well. We were talking last night, and we weren't sure, at the beginning of this prep, like how he was going to look. We both were kind of like, let's see how this goes. But as the prep went on, he's gotten better and better and better and better. And I'm like, I told him last night, I said, dude, don't stop. Like, this is it. You look great. So I'm very, very proud of where he's at. I think he's going to be in fantastic condition. His lower back's almost in already. His glutes are coming in. He'll be ready in about another week and a half. He'll be ready a little bit early, which is what I like to see. So I'm expecting him to be big and hard. And we're not going to have to load him up with a bunch of food, so his waist isn't going to be blown out. I'm going to bring him in nice and tight with his waist. So I'm very excited to see this in 3 weeks. What happens? Let's see what else we got here. Does barbecue chicken pizza count as gains? I used to coach this guy named Julian Jeffrion. He's from Canada. He's a friend of mine. And he could handle a lot of calories. So his post-workout meal was a barbecue chicken pizza. I believe it was from Donato's. So if any of you guys know him, you'll have to ask him. But that was literally his post-workout meal. It was a whole barbecue chicken pizza from Donato's. Sometimes you just got to crank the calories up. Okay, what else we got here? When depleting, how many grams of carbs should I consume per pound of body weight? Okay, all right. So when you're depleting, you're just going to lower your carbs, which will lower your calories substantially. Most people, when they deplete, go down anywhere from 0 to 100 carbs. And it can be anywhere from 3 days to 5 days. I mean, that's kind of the general rule. That's generally what people do. It's somewhere in that ballpark. Okay. I appreciate all these kind words here. I'm reading every one of them. Thank you very much for the support. Shoulder pain while benching, then I wouldn't. I'd have to see your form. Like, for example, if you're caving in your chest when you press, that puts stress around your AC joint. That's a very bad idea. But I would try different angles. I would try a slight incline. I would try a slight decline. Probably what I would do is try a slight incline. I don't know what's wrong with your shoulder, though, so it's kind of hard to say. All right, Matt, I appreciate the super chat. Great question. Hi, John. Did you ever struggle with balancing family obligations, work obligations, and bodybuilding when you were up and coming? I'm finding it tough. I did, and I probably learned some hard lessons, Matt. So you got to realize I was working a full-time job in the banking industry, and it was beyond full-time. It was a lot of hours. So I would work all day. Then I would get home. I would eat as quick as I could. I would go to the gym. I would get home. I would eat again. And then I only had very limited time to spend with my family before it was time to go to bed again and do it all over. So I tried to spend the weekends more with my family. But then what happened was I was also coaching a lot of clients. So I was essentially working 2 jobs at once. So it started to bleed into my Saturdays and Sundays. So then it got to the point where it seemed like I was working nonstop. And if I wasn't working, I was in the gym. And we had our kids, and they were about 3 years old at the time. And I remember thinking, I didn't have a dad. They have a dad, but they don't have a dad. Just because I'm their dad, if I'm not there, then they really don't have a dad. So I quit working at Chase, JP Morgan Chase, and I started spending a lot more time with them. I went into this business full time. And then I made another mistake. Then I just said, you know what? Anybody who wants me to coach them, I'll coach them. And sure enough, the next thing I knew, I had 220 clients, and I was I was literally starting over. Now I was working, seemed like all day again. So then it was like, okay, I have got to cut this down. So I cut down my client load. I continue to cut down my client loads more and more and more, because I can't get back the time with my kids. I mean, they're 11 now. There's going to be a point where they're gone, and I don't want to look back and say I missed everything. So I think I do a pretty good job now. I go to all their practices. I coach them when I can. Even if it's other sports, I still go to their practices. We try to do things together. Even during even though things have slowed down due to the pandemic, I took them to a couple of amusement parks that had limited availability. So we still tried to have like a mini vacations. So you've got to kind of make it work for you. You've got to set time aside for them. You know, when I worked in the corporate world, I was very good at organizing and keeping track of my time, what I was doing. And that's kind of what you have to do with your life. You've got to say, here's what I'm doing at this point in time. And you got to just put time in for your family. You just have to. You know, my wife and I, even when I was dieting, I always took a cheat meal on Friday nights. Every single weekend dieting, and we would go do something. Well, not originally we didn't, but when I figured this out, I started doing this. So I would diet a little harder. I would get in better shape so that I had the wiggle room to have a cheat meal. So I changed my dieting to diet a little harder, and then my wife and I would always go out for dinner, a movie on Friday nights, even all the way up to a show. And that definitely helped our relationship. That definitely helped. So it's not easy, Matt. I feel you, but you can do it. You just got to be kind of more organized, and you just got to make time for what's important. All right. I see another one come in from Transcending Fitness, but I don't see the question. Okay. Transcending Fitness. I saw your donation come in. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right. I watched Chris Ward. Thank you. I went to school with a kid named Chris Ward. I watched your video on testosterone and finally went to get a blood test. Turns out I have low levels. Any advice on raising it naturally? So one of the questions I get a lot is, are there any supplements that raise your testosterone naturally? So most of them are pure baloney. They're pure garbage. Things like zinc can help some, but this idea that there's these natural supplements, the Tongat, Ali, the Maca, all these things that are supposed to drive your test up, you're going to be disappointed, I'm telling you. You should look at the fat in your diet. If you have a really low fat diet, it can impact your test levels. I would look at your diet. But there's no supplements I can sit here and tell you that drive up your testosterone levels naturally. If there were, man, you could make some money. But the supplements that are out there, the test boosters, are crap. They just are. As soon as I find an ingredient that works well, you're going to see me come out with that supplement. Because believe me, I want to put that supplement out there. So, Chris, I wish there were some good ways to do it naturally. What you could do is you could start with a cream, which isn't natural, but maybe the doctor will give you a cream. There's Testum gel and things that I used in the past. I've got some friends that use the gel. You could start there, and I think maybe that would help you. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Caroline, here's Transcending Fitness. Okay, Transcending Fitness. If you ever need a gym to use for a video, let me know. I have a commercial grade gym you can use. Oh, cool, man. Where are you located? You're in Columbus? Okay. Yeah, man, shoot me a message on social media or somewhere, or put it in here where you're at. Shoot me a DM on Instagram, something like that. We're always looking for places to film. We love the gym, obviously, where we train now, but the lighting's obviously not the best. And the guy, not the owner of the gym, but the owner of the facility won't let us put in new lighting, which is really frustrating. So luckily, my cameraman that works with me has an awesome camera, or else you guys would be seeing it would look like I would train in a basement. There she is, Caroline. Okay, you're talking to Alina. All right. What do you think about leg extensions and knee pain? I would first look at how you have the machine set up. If you're letting your tibia kind of go back underneath your body, sometimes that can create some patellar tendon stress. I just let my tibia come straight down and then I flex. Now, having said that, if it hurts, don't do it. If no matter what you do, it hurts, then don't do it. There's no exercise that you absolutely have to do. None. There's no exercise that exists. What do I think about lactose? Well, it's a milk sugar. If you're intolerant, then don't consume it. If you have no issues with it, like me, then you can consume it. Okay, I just saw another one come in. Vexed Fee. I had a heart attack in mid-30s, and now I have 5 stents from blockages. I sometimes find that this provides me mental block and intensity. Any tips? First of all, I totally get it. All the smart doctors I have talked to said to keep doing my cardio and keep training with weights, like to train my heart. But anytime I start to get out of breath, which, like, let's say I do a hard set of squats, I'll start to get out of breath. So I'll be like, oh my God, is my heart having trouble? Or is it just, it's a hard set of squats? I mean, when you do a hard set of squats, you get out of breath a little bit. So it's this constant mental battle I have. I totally understand where you're coming from. I'm hesitant to tell you to just go crazy and go all out. But I think if you talk to the doctors that I've talked to, and Dr. Serrano is probably the sharpest doctor out there. I mean, he deals with everything you can imagine. He's an expert on metabolism, on all this stuff. Heart health, and he would tell you keep training hard. Maybe don't kill yourself, but keep training hard. Like, don't stop training. Don't be afraid to push yourself a little bit. And again, make sure you hit your cardio. Doing your cardio is actually really cool because it can help your heart develop pathways. Like if you have you said you had some stents in there. If you have blockages, your body can actually make new vasculature. It can develop new capillaries, and you can develop new ways for your heart to move blood around. That actually happens a lot. It's actually really common. You see this with a lot of cases where it's athletes or people like that, is their hearts are so good at just, and our bodies are so good at just finding an alternate route. My main artery, it's called the left anterior descending artery. It's the widowmaker, was completely blocked. And I've read that some people have had that for like 9-10 hours and barely even noticed it. And they had developed other pathways for blood flow. And that comes from cardio mainly. So I'm a big believer in cardio. But I also think you should keep lifting weights too. Hunter, what split would you recommend if you only have 30 to 45 minutes to lift for mass? Push, pull, leg seems like it looks like you're saying it's too much time. 30 to 45 minutes, I would probably pick a full body workout. I wouldn't even say a full body workout. I would probably pick, it depends on how many days during the week. But what you could do if you have a lot of days during the week, what you could do, Hunter, is you could pick like a base movement that encompasses a lot of muscle groups. Like let's say an incline bench press. That's going to get your chest. That's going to get your shoulders. That's going to get your triceps. And then pick out maybe 2 other exercises that you can do to complement that. Maybe a tricep exercise, maybe a shoulder exercise. So I think push-pull legs would work. I just think you got to bring down the number of exercises. And like when you're doing your legs, do some squats, do some leg curls. You can actually get pretty good legs just from leg curls and squats. Like if someone said you only got two things you can do for legs, what would you do? I would do a leg curl and a squat. Those are the 2 things I would do. I'd rather see you do that than try to squeeze in 7 exercises where you don't really get a lot out of it. So hopefully that makes sense. Quality over quantity is what I would suggest in that situation. Okay. Let me see what else we got here. What are your thoughts on collagen protein versus whey or casein? Collagen is this super protein now. It's what everybody's saying. It's not a super protein. It's good for your joints. It has a couple amino acids in it. Glycine's one of them. I can't remember the other one. But it is good for your joints, but it is in no way superior to whey or casein for that matter. But I take it sometimes for my joints. When I don't take it, I don't really notice the difference, but I take it, I guess I'd take it kind of as insurance. If you want something that's really good for your joints, I would take UC2 collagen. UC2 collagen. That's in our joint product. You can look it up on PubMed. You can look at all the studies done on 40 milligrams. It's an unbelievable supplement. It's 10 times better than glucosamine or chondroitin. Really, really good, really good supplement for joint health. What would you recommend for a really stubborn triceps lateral head? So what I feel the most in the lateral head of my tricep, it's a push down with a bar that goes like this. It's a V, then it goes out. And you don't hold it the V part. You hold it where it goes out. So it's straight. And then you drive it straight down when you do it. That hand position allows me to hit my lateral head pretty good. Anytime my hands start to come in like this, I tend to feel a little bit more long head on the inside. But that's kind of the one. It's actually, we haven't put the video out yet, but we have a tricep choose your own workout, build your own workout tricep video that we haven't put out yet. And I actually do it in that video. So when it gets to the push down part, look at that video. And that's the one I mentioned in the video too. That's the one you really feel in your lateral head. Would you recommend Lane Norton's fat routine? I don't really know what that is. Lane's a really sharp guy though. He knows his stuff. So I imagine if Lane built it, it's pretty good. I can't say that I really know what it is, but Lane's a really sharp guy. So I tend to think if he built it, it's probably pretty good. Always remind what your goal was the first time you started. Make sure you still want that. That's motivation number 1. Okay. I don't think that's really a question. It's more of a statement, but that's a good statement. Why'd you get into it in the first place? I loved bodybuilding from the start. I loved bodybuilding because I love bodybuilding. It wasn't because people were picking on me or because I wanted to impress girls. I just really love bodybuilding. And that's why I continue to do it now at 48 years old. You guys can see the gray. You see I haven't shaved for a couple of days. I love it. I love bodybuilding. I've always loved it. And I don't imagine at this point, if I haven't lost my love for it now, I probably never will. Okay, let's see what else we got here. What do you think about nucleus overload training? I don't really know what that is either. I've seen it mentioned, but I don't know what it is. Pursuit. Oh, wow. MX. Where's that from? Oh, Mexico. Okay, this is pesos. Will you take down the video with the cardiologist? He spewed information about becoming more efficient. So I already took it down. There was also a lot of good information in there about being in a caloric deficit. And you didn't seem to mention that. So you picked out the part that was a little bit misinforming. I did take it down, but you neglected to mention all of the stuff that was right, which was the primary driver on fat loss has been a caloric deficit. So, all right, let's see what else we got here. I have a problem with mind-muscle connection during my workouts, especially in my upper back. Please make a video on how to improve this. Keep up the good work. Mind-muscle connection in your upper back. So I'm trying to think, are you thinking rhomboids, or are you thinking like lower traps, or are you thinking like teres muscles in kind of your upper lats? So generally speaking, mind-muscle connection in your upper back, it's a double overhand row that you pull high. So instead of pulling it low in your stomach, you want to pull it more like up toward your chest. What I really like too is supported chest machines. So anytime you're on a support like this, you can row in with this overhand grip. The key to it is two things. It's the overhand grip. It's the pronated grip. It's keeping your elbows up so you don't tuck your elbows. You keep them up. And then you just drive your elbows back and squeeze. I mean, that's really the main thing for those muscles. Yeah, mom. Okay. Okay, yeah, mom. I like that. Am I cheating myself out of gains by only using dumbbells for my chest work? I have a hard time using a barbell, old rotator cuff. I think dumbbells are great. Dumbbells allow you to get a full range of motion more safely. If you have issues doing barbell work, again, there's no exercise that you have to do. It would be nice if you could do maybe a machine fly of some type to complement the dumbbell work. But listen, I love slight decline dumbbell presses. I love slight incline dumbbell presses. I love high incline dumbbell presses. So I don't have a problem with you with just using dumbbells for your chest work. I don't have an issue with that at all. I think it's fine. And, you know, I've had some shoulder issues in the past, so I eased up on the barbell work and the shoulders cleared up. The pain went away. So, no, I have no issues with that at all. John, my nutrition guy has me on 0.7 grams pound of LBM. Is this protein? So, like, if you're 100.7 grams a pound of LBM with 12% above maintenance, is this enough protein for I can't see the rest of that, for a recomp at 22% body fat, Clomid for low T. Clomid can definitely help with low T, by the way. Look up its effects on, I believe it's LH, luteinizing hormone. So you're on 0.7 grams a pound of LBM. I don't really know what you mean by that. Is that protein? Oh, yeah. Is this enough protein? Okay. So you're at 22% body fat. Let's say you weigh 200 pounds. That's 140 grams of protein. Being that you're on a recomp, I'd probably like to see it a little bit higher, but it's not terrible, though. It's not that bad. If you are replacing, like if your calories are still in the right place, if you have the carbs in there that you need, the fat that you need, I don't really have a problem with that. I mean, I would personally have it up a little bit higher, but I think it's okay, though. If you were leaner, I probably would be a little bit more apt to say bump it up a little bit more as well, but I think you're okay, especially if you're recovering well after your workouts. Then you're probably okay. So I don't have a problem with that. I think that's decent as long as your calories are where they need to be. So you're saying you're at 12% above maintenance. So you should be okay. You should be okay. I don't think that's a bad plan. And you don't have to do, I mean, I've done everything from hardly no protein all the way up to 2 or 3 grams per pound. And I've done this obviously with hundreds and hundreds of people. I don't see any benefit to going above like 1.25 grams per pound for most people. For natural guys, I certainly never seen really much benefit of going above maybe a gram per pound. But if you want to go a little higher on protein, I don't see an issue with it either. I just don't think it's a miracle solution. You know, people talk about how you can eat an unlimited amount of protein and never get fat because they have this study they've seen. I mean, I guarantee you if you eat enough chicken at some point, you will gain weight. I just never seen anybody eat enough. But actually, you know what? In the 90s, when we used to train at World Gym East, it was right across the street from Orion's Buffet. And I trained with this guy, Nick Bowman, and Nick was awesome. So Nick was an old school dude. Like you ate and ate and ate after you trained. So we would train and then we would go to the buffet, and what Nick would eat was anywhere from 12 to 14 chicken breasts. I kid you not. And then he would be full and he'd be like, okay, that's enough. And I would eat like 4 or 5 chicken breasts, and I would eat a bowl of ice cream. That's what I did. But when I start talking about eating a lot of chicken, I always think about that. So I had a really hard time growing back then. It's when I was in college. I was stuck at 205 pounds, and it literally took me a year to get to 210. Like, I didn't think it was physically possible for me to get to 210. All right, what else we got here? Looks like Alexander has pulled up with mom. Okay. Ever coming to Norway? You know what? I haven't traveled over into those Scandinavian countries ever. I've been to Scotland, England, Ireland, over in Europe, but I've never been to any of the Scandinavian countries. And I see all these pictures of how beautiful it is. So I would love to come there someday. I was actually scheduled to go to Italy in April. You guys remember what was going on in April in Italy? I was scheduled to do a seminar in Milan, Italy, kind of the epicenter of the whole virus. So needless to say, I didn't make it to Italy. I wouldn't have been allowed to even come into the country anyway. And if I did get in the country, they wouldn't let me out. So I actually just did my first seminar since the virus. Get ready to do some yo-yo tricks. I actually did my first seminar since the virus this past weekend, but it was only an hour and a half flight. So it was here local. What are your thoughts on MK677? It works, but it's going to give you a lot of water retention. But it works. It's just going to give you a lot of water retention. It's the only thing that's ever made me get high blood pressure. It's the only thing that's ever done that. But it does work. Okay. Yo-yo tricks. Yes, lots of yo-yo tricks coming. Advice for a 40-year-old natural bodybuilder to keep making gains. You know what? I think the more advanced you get, it just gets tougher. So you got to think, when you start off when you're younger, almost everything you do works to a degree. But when you hit 10 years training, 15 years training, 20 years training, I know a lot of people like to talk about doing the same stuff over and over. And I do agree with that early in your career. But when you get to the later part of your career, you just can't do the same stuff. Like, your body's already adapted to it. You have to do things a little differently. And it depends. Like, if you recover well, then maybe it's adding extra intensity. If you don't recover well as you get older, it might be you actually have to pull back on your volume. So what I would say as you get older is you have to be more flexible in your approach. Like, if what you're doing isn't working, then you got to change something. I don't care how many people on Instagram say you got to do the same stuff over and over and just get stronger at it. Okay, well, let's see how that works when you're 40s and in your 50s. Let's see how it works when you've been training for 20, 30 years and you're trying to get stronger and you're in your 50s. It's not going to work. You've already maxed out your strength gains. Now you've got to use other types of stimulus to continue to improve. Why don't doctors use test undecanate for TRT? I think that, number one, it's expensive. There is, I did look into that. There is you do like a 750 milligram shot to start off. Then you only have like one shot a month. It's super expensive. And I think the doctors just don't even know about it. I think that's really the main reason, guys. I just think they don't even know about it. But the thing was, with the test undecanate, what I read was it doesn't elevate your IBCs and hematocrit, which is one of the reasons why I was looking into it. It's just that they wanted to charge a crazy amount of money for it. Anyways, I can't think what it's called, or I would tell you, but I'm sure you can Google it, and you'll see the name of it. What do you think about rest when it comes to results? I train 7 times a week and I'm 39. Well, here's what I think. If what you're doing is working, then keep doing it. If you feel that you're getting a little beat up and overtrained, then you got to pull back. I don't have this set of rules that you have to follow, because I feel like when you find something that works, stick with it. Keep doing it, man. We're all different. I can sit here and tell you pull back to 5 days. Maybe when you pull back to 5 days, maybe your gains will slow down. I don't know. So, but rest, what I would say, again, my number one rule is train a muscle when it's recovered. Just like I said at the beginning of this video. Train a muscle when it's recovered. That's the main thing. Don't get stuck in a split where if something's sore, you still train it anyway. The key is recovering a muscle and then training it hard again. All right. I see you guys helping each other a lot out in the comments. I appreciate that. That's really cool. Keep that up. I love to see that. What is your favorite back exercise? It's the Meadows row, of course. That's the one exercise that started really stimulating my back in about 2002, 2003 is when I started doing those. And that's when my back really started picking up thickness. How would you program to train a body part 3 times a week? I would do it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Friday would be the hardest day because you have 2 days to recover, Saturday and Sunday. On Monday and Wednesday, I would keep the volume low. I would keep the intensity under max so you can recover, because if you train Monday, you got to come right back Wednesday. And when you train Wednesday, you got to follow the same thing because you got to come right back Friday. But Friday, I'd go a little harder since you have the extra day to train. And I would pull back on your strong body parts. You can't just train everything really hard 3 times a week, in my opinion, unless your volume is really, really low. Like if you're only doing a couple sets of body part. Skies, another good question. You ask good questions, man. Why do highly skilled bodybuilders use coaches? So what happens is when you get really, really lean, your brain goes wacko. You look in the mirror and you start saying, man, I'm fat today. And you're not. Like you're still in the same diet, and you'll see a little water retention. You'll go, oh, look how fat I am. It's a mental game. And like for me, it wasn't the X's and O's. The challenge wasn't how do I move calories? Do I do cardio? It was the mental part at the end that was the toughest for me. And sometimes you just need a coach to tell you so you stop thinking. So you stop asking yourself dumb questions. Like I would literally wake up in the morning and be really dry and ripped. And when I went to bed at night, my kidneys, my body fat around my kidneys, or, that area, I should say, would look watery. And I'd be like, oh man, I'm going to be fat. Look, my kidney area is fat. It's just water from the day. But those are the kinds of things that happen to you mentally when you diet. And it's good to have someone to keep you level-headed and for you to not panic and to take the thinking out of it. Or else, sometimes you'll sit on the computer all day and you'll just try to Google every magic secret you can do the last week. There are no magic secrets. And once you've done this long enough, you figure out there are no magic secrets. Maybe you increase your carbs as you go to fill out a little bit. Maybe you manipulate your water a little bit. But there is no magic secret the last week. There's just get in shape and then make subtle changes to what you're doing. I mean, that's really the key. Okay. This is a good question. Is being fat considered a surplus? That's a really good question because you have enough energy stored in your body to actually use. That's a great question. I mean, if you are really fat, then you definitely don't want to be eating a ton of calories. You don't need them. So in that case, I probably wouldn't have a problem if you've been pretty aggressive, pulling your calories down, but I still wouldn't get wacky though. I still wouldn't drop them like crazy because you don't want to lose muscle. But man, that's a fantastic question. And it is, there's like, if you look at the longest fast in history, I think it was a guy in Scotland, and I think it was somewhere between 360 and 380 days that he fasted. All he had was a vitamin, a mineral supplement, and water. And he not only lived, he lost a ton of weight and his health got better. So you could, and he was real obese, real obese. So you could say he had plenty of fat to use for energy. I mean, so that's a great question, man. I enjoyed that question. All right, you guys want to see some yo-yo tricks? Alexander is back, and he's ready to go. I think you're going to be pretty. I think you're going to be pretty surprised at how much his skills have changed in the last 2 or 3 weeks. All right. So, yeah, I see your comment on that surplus from fat. Yeah, I agree with you guys on that. All right, let's get some yo-yo tricks. Check it out, fellas. He's got new skills. Hold on. Can I see you?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
This is the negative 2.0 hook.
This is the negative 2.0 hook.
It's really hard, so it might take a couple of tries.
There it is. Boom. That's a crazy, challenging trick right there.
It's because this slack goes over both hands and then hooks. Yeah, negative. It's really hard. And then,
All right, do some more.
yeah, I got a knot.
You got a knot in your yo-yo?
I'm trying to untie it so I don't have to go get a new string. Yeah, there we go. So I was doing, this is a little combo that I made up. You might have seen it on Instagram if you follow me there.
Little combo that you made up and you showed it on Instagram. Okay. What's your Instagram? Meadows Gang?
At Meadows Gang 48.
Meadows Gang 48. Yes, he's definitely better at this than I am at lifting weights.
Let me get my string tension out because I have a really cool trick. Like that. It's called trapeze follow.
The trapeze follow.
Double negative hook. That was a double negative hook.
Double negative hook. Okay.
And well, then there's like hook.
Are you doing any of that behind the horizontal stuff?
Okay, do not expect me to hit it first try.
All right, first try.
It's really hard. I need my shutter wide angle to do this. Really good for horizontal. Oh, I didn't hit the barring, but I hit the combo.
Hey, somebody just said something really cool. There should be a yo-yo trick named from one of your yo-yo tricks, the Meadows throw. You got to invent a trick and call it the Meadows throw.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's another trick that I forgot. So it's called a tension hook. So it looks like there's a bunch of different ways to get into it. There's a lot of ways, like this way. The Roll Yo-Yo champion Jeffrey Stein actually taught this one to me, like that. And yeah, and then it just puts you into a trapeze.
Mr. Yo-Yo Olympia. Mr. Yo Olympia. I like that too.
And
Where did your shirt come from? The Kandahar Airfield shirt?
Afghanistan.
Okay. That was actually, who brought that back for you? Mr. Napo?
Yep.
So a family friend is in the military. He was over in Afghanistan. He brought that back for Alexander.
And there's this bind it took me like 3 weeks to learn. It's called ghost bind because when you just whip, well, that shouldn't work because snagged. But like when you whip the string into the gap of the yo-yo, it doesn't work unless if you get a knot like I did there. Okay. Yeah, the ghost bind I've been working on for like 3 weeks.
Is that what you're getting ready to do?
Just like that. Yeah.
That was a ghost bind?
Yeah, it's really hard. Because you have to make this super small circle around the yo-yo. And there's a super long combo that I didn't make, but I don't know, have I done it before, the wrist mount tech combo?
Let's try that one. Let's finish off with that one. Okay, this will be the last one. And what is this one called?
Wrist mount tech combo by Gentry Stein.
Wrist mount tech combo by Gentry Stein. Okay.
Got a really bad knot. Okay. Here, let me redo that. The string is super sticky.
If you guys want to donate $1 to Alexander, I'll make sure he gets it.
Just like that, yeah. Here, let me do it once more.
One more time. You want to try it again? Okay.
So like, boom. Whoa. Okay. With the yo barely spinning. Yeah, there we go. Still not perfect, but yeah, that was it. That's what I could do.
All right, that's it, folks. I appreciate it. Appreciate all your support. And we'll see you. We'll see you next time. Thanks.